Right, so we're here at the Lancaster Insurance Classic Motor Show here at the NEC. There are a few things going on here. There's car parts, there's a lot of magazines here, clubs, and lots of cars. We're going to go around, have a look at some of the interesting things that caught my attention. Hopefully they'll be interesting to you. We're in the auction part of the show at the moment. Do a little bit of wandering around here too. So join me and we'll have a look at some really interesting cars in about 6 halls here at the NEC. Yeah, so right, Daimler Super 8. This is a nice one. It comes after the X300, which is the Daimler 66 V12. This one takes the XJR engine, supercharged V8, 370 horsepower, same output as the XJR. It's just on softer suspension. Strict 4-seater. It's all about comfort, this thing. It's the quintessential gentleman's express. Sure, I'd probably rather have the Daimler 66. But this is pretty nice too. In black, it's got proper imposing looks and a lovely coach line along the side. Anyway, let's find out some more. Right, you may know this is the boring version of the 550. Came before the 550 though. 456 for the cubic centilitres of each cylinder. One of the last Ferraris to do that, I think. This one's manual as well. So yeah, it's quite a special car. Most of them came with a GM Auto. This is an early car. It's got the louvers behind the front headlights. Looks okay in silver. It looked better as the Tour de France blue one for the auctions. That looks incredible. Either that or green. Yeah, V12, you know, 400 odd horsepower. Can't remember the actual figure. 180 odd mile an hour car. Serious bit of kit here. Timeless shape, I think. And it's aging more gracefully, in my opinion, than the 550, even if it is the squidgy cousin. So I just wanted to drop by this car because it's kind of, before the 412, the spiritual predecessor to the 456. It's the 365 GTC4. It's like a swooping 2+2, and these used to be cheap. I mean, the 456s are now 50 grand. They've kind of been there for a while, a bit unloved. These were unloved. It used to be all about the Daytona. Now, this one's up for 275k. Serious money. I just really am fearful that the 456 is going to ride the same way. Is this the perfect Duetto Spider? It's got a 24 valve V6, this beautiful repainted dark burgundy colour. It's got 4-pop brakes as well. Special car, this. This caught my eye too. Alvis Saloon from the 50s. This is a 3-litre 6-cylinder. It's one of the first sports saloons, at least from Alvis, to hit those big numbers. 100 horsepower, 100 miles an hour. And actually, interestingly, it's got the same underpinnings as the far more exotic TC, I think it is. No, TF. These were very stylish at the time. There's something about this that caught my eye. Real special car. It's very aerodynamic. It's kind of old school, but there's some modern elements to it. So if you don't know, this is a 262C, which means that's the Bertone-bodied Volvo 240. 6, yeah, that should mean PRV V6, 150 horsepower. But someone has changed this to a 2.3 turbo and 5-speed manual from a 940, a later Volvo, and also the US spec lights. So this thing is pretty serious, like in full black. I heard someone call it fully gangster earlier. I think it's pretty accurate. Yeah, it's maybe a little bit much for me, but and look at the ruched leather seats. Yeah, it's all a bit 70s, but it's got modern performance, this one. This is one of my personal favourites, the Fiat Tipo. It looks very unassuming, but this one's the Sedici Ballavoli. It means that's 2-litre, 150 horsepower. At the time, early 90s, it was like a proper hot hatch. It just looks really cool. It's actually probably one of the rarer cars here. There's like one of 5 or something in the UK left. They're kind of underappreciated at the moment. Brilliant, brilliant cars. Twin cam, Italian, brilliant, you know, Brio and all that. Yeah, it looks subtle, but it's got menace. It's really nice. Yeah, I couldn't quite believe my eyes when I saw this car. It's basically a Delta Integrale, not Delta Integrale, Lancia Delta. Saab Lancia Delta, Saab Lancia 600. See, I'm getting confused. really interesting car. They sold it in Denmark, Sweden, Finland, some of the other Scandinavian countries. But basically, it's just a Delta. They didn't really change anything, maybe a different heater, some auxiliaries. But the kind of curious thing is, like some of the other cars that Saab badge engineered over the years, like the 97X, they took away the Saab badges in some key areas, like on the bonnet, no Saab badge, Lancia badge on the boot lid, and here, Saab Lancia. Even on the steering wheel, it's Lancia. So they're obviously distancing themselves. They're working with Lancia at the time. They kind of knew how they made cars and kind of knew how things rusted quite badly. Yeah, unicorn car. There are very few remaining. I couldn't believe my eyes seeing this. It's one of my chosen gems for the show, I think. Yeah. Oh, it's mad. Right, so you may have heard of the 205 XS. Well, this is the 5-door. They called it the GT. Here it is in a very early car in super brown spec. Oh man, it's just, I don't think I could think of a better 205 personally. It's like a slower, softer GTI, but just as joyous. It's a really, really nice thing. Here's an interesting two, they're parked next to each other. Top-end models of Capri, one from the old school with the Essex V6, carburetted in a brilliantly dashing orange, and then obviously the very famous 280 last of the line fuel-injected Cologne V6 engine Capris. These are the ones that have always gone for money, but actually I kind of think this is a nicer car, and yet this is 10 grand less, the estimates. Something like 20 to 30 grand. This one's like 15 to 20. No, 20 to 25. Super cool tartan seats, super cool colour. Carburetted. I mean, come on, they're cooler, aren't they? Do the maths. 850 CSI in manual. Oh, this is a super weapon of a coupe. It is a seriously cool car. I think it's part of JK's collection here. This one's really special. It's very low mileage. Obviously it's manual as well, so super desirable spec. It was guided 80 to 90. It sold for 74, I think 75. That shows you kind of there's a bit of flexibility in market. But proper cool car, super coupe of the 90s. You know, it's got that tuned M Sport reworked V12 engine, closest thing you get to an F1 engine without being an F1. Yeah, it's a proper bit of kit this, and hopefully one day it'll be affordable for kind of people like us.
74,000 only. That's not enough, I'm afraid. Lot 311 comes rushing up next.
So it's a lot quieter now. These hallways were pretty much crammed earlier on in the afternoon. We're heading out. I hope you enjoyed us showing you around a bit of the NEC Classic Car Show. We'll be back next year, but in the meantime we'll be at more car shows, we'll be doing more reviews, so stay tuned for a lot of our content in the future. Hope to see you soon.